I'm making this video to socialize some information with some friends that I'm going to be taking a hut trip with in the near future. And I'm not sure that they know this trick. It's a trick that I happened to learn during a 3-day level 1 avalanche course around this time last year at Colorado Mountain School. And during one of my overnights, one of the instructors, indulged my interest and showed me how to sort of geek out with some of this data so you can do some better route planning and move around in the environment without actually having to be there. And you can use other people's information as well just to get some more data points from other folks who have actually traveled in that area. So what you end up doing is you use maps in this application called Caltopo. So caltopo.com. I have already happen to have searched, so you see some coordinates, map coordinates in the URL up here, but maps in Caltopo in combination with Google Earth. So once you're looking at the particular area, especially when you're traveling in the backcountry in wintertime, you want to turn on, so you just hover over this little layers button up here, and this other window pops, and you can check the box for fixed slope shading, and that will allow you to see the dangerous areas, right? The places that you want to avoid in certain situations, and also maybe help plan or pick out your ascent routes and maybe descent routes you'd like to avoid. So this is just one piece of the puzzle that we're looking at right here. Once we print this file out to something that we can open in Google Earth, this is going to make a whole lot more sense. So we're going to the Opus Hut. The Opus Hut is going to be right where my mouse is kind of moving right now. That's where we're going to be stationed. So we're going to be skiing probably in a lot of this area. We're going to be able to sort of check out this entire area, but none of us have been there. So, it's all going to be brand new to us. So we want to be able to move around a little bit in a 3D environment. So to do that, what we're going to do is print. So you hit print, and then you go to download KMZ. You do not export. So once you have at least one marker in this map, you will be able to export this map, but we are not going to export. We are going to print to this download KMZ file. Once you get to this next screen, you need to make sure that this fixed slope shading is still checked, and that way the fixed slope shading will actually come out in your download. Sometimes that gets unchecked. I'm not 100% sure why it does that, but sometimes this fixed slope shading gets unchecked when you get to this next screen, which is what's going to allow you to print. Now let me zoom out a little bit. You can see this area that Caltopo has selected for me in terms of what I want to print. I'm not sure what the default is and why it comes out this specific way, but for now this is just good enough for me here. I might want to increase the size of this just a little bit, and it's always it sort of snaps to a square or a rectangle. Anyway, that's good enough to start with now. So I'm going to hit download KMZ, and that is going to download to this file here. And as soon as that's done downloading, I'm going to be able to double click on that, which I'm going to do now, and it's going to open in Google Earth. Once it's in Google Earth, you can see Google Earth's going to zoom right in on that map in Google Earth. Now that I'm here, I can sort of zoom in and out and start to get more of sort of a 3D understanding of where I am. So we are very likely going to be, we're going to be traveling up this basin here, right here, this basin here, in order to get up to the hut. So we're going to park over here. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I can also rotate this way. So now I'm looking west. So we're going to be heading right up this basin, and I can look up. Now I'm kind of looking up. If you can imagine, I'm sort of panning my head up as I do that. Now you might have to readjust the map as you're doing this. Eventually you can get, sort of a flatlander's view of things. All right, so let me zoom in a little bit further. Okay, so you can kind of see, now I'm going to be, if I'm moving up this basin, right, I can see all of these sort of dangerous zones right on the right and left. Now, without having an understanding of how many trees are here, I might get a little worried at this point. But if I just turn off that layer, I can see, all right, there's a fair amount of ground cover in here. When I cross this avalanche path right here, that's probably a pretty dangerous avalanche path. If I turn that layer back on, I can see, this is something that probably slides now and again. So, we can be extra careful when we're crossing this area. Probably have to be careful right here in this drainage as well. But, and then maybe once we get up in here as well, we're going to have to be pretty careful. But the point is, this map, this overlay, is something that can help you move around where you're planning on going without having to go there. So, you can look at, where your ridge lines are to, as I was talking about before, plan your ascent routes. You can probably see some pretty obvious areas that you actually don't want to go skiing at all, places you want to avoid. And definitely, say you can't see things, right? If you're down in the woods, you're going to have a hard time sort of being able to see above treetops and seeing what might be above you. You can do that in here ahead of time. It's also a great thing to have in the field. So when I happened to be in a place called Marble, Colorado last year, we used this tool to look around every day. So every day we were out skiing, we would come back, we would look at where we had gone, and we would sort of look at where we wanted to go. So when we were out in the field, we were sort of pointing at things like, what's over there, what's over there? We said, let's go back, look at the map. So we would do that, and then we could sort of plan our next day a little bit more safely than we might have otherwise. So that's that. I hope you get some benefit out of this, and we'll look forward to seeing you outside in the future.